Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. Put a one in the chat if you can hear me. I want to see those ones. I want to see those ones tonight because we have a very special show. And we have some very special guests. Well, they're not guests anymore. They're two of the co-hosts of the Hip Hop Enquirer live show. But we have another special guest. This is a big surprise for me, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But I'm glad you guys are able to join me. You'll know what the topic is. This is a late breaking news story. I didn't break the story, but it's a late breaking news story. And I want to credit my guests for breaking the story. I'm waiting for that person to click on the link, but until that person comes in, we're going to bring in our host and we're going to talk about this lawsuit. When you probably know that no one else has published the actual document because they don't have it. They don't have it. You may see screen grabs of Tasha K and Kevin Hart, but no one else has this lawsuit. And there's a reason why no one else has this lawsuit. And I want to go into the details of which at some point during my live. But without any further ado, I want to introduce my two co-hosts tonight. That is Crystal Jordan, journalist Crystal Jordan, as well as attorney Thelma Anderson. First, I'm going to bring up Crystal Jordan because she's been away from us for a minute. I don't know what she's been doing, but she's finally back. Crystal, what's going on?
Good evening. Woo, I would say happy holidays, but this, the news doesn't stop.
The news doesn't stop. Just when we thought we could take a vacation, something else pops off. And I didn't even think it wouldn't even involve in this individual, but unfortunately, we have to report the news.
Again, it's kind of it's actually really, really, it's saddening to see that we're talking about the same individual that has been in the news on the wrong side of the news several times before this year and even last year. But what's so interesting, 2023 is not going to go out, Dennis, without a bang. Like this year has been a year of revelation and huge exposés and lawsuits, and it's not letting up anytime soon. We got 4 days left.
Man, we can't even get out finish these last 4 days off without any crazy drama. But this is a big one.
Yeah.
This is a big one, and we're going to talk about this. You have a copy of the lawsuit that we're not going to put it on the screen for obvious reasons because you know how they grab it and everything. And I want to first and foremost bring my other guests on, but I want to also give credit. I want to make sure not my guests, but my co-host, Miss Attorney Thelma Anderson. What's going on, Thelma?
I'm minding my business, but the world's not.
Whew. We've been trying to mind our business, but this has become our business because this is what we chose to do. We're between us being journalists as well as your attorney, this is something that obviously is important because this goes to what I've been speaking about as far as being responsible as content creators and in how you move in these YouTube streets, these Instagram streets, and pretty much on social media. But what I want to say right now is I wouldn't have had this lawsuit tonight because, one, I thought it was a federal filing, but it's not a federal filing. It's a state filing, but we're not going to tell you where it was filed at. But I want to credit the breaking of the story by The Blast. The Blast, which is ran by my good buddy, Michael Walters, as well as his sister, Liz Walters, who, let me give you some background first. Mike Walters was the the news editor for TMZ. And he was primarily the one who kind of trained me in moving through the courts a certain way at TMZ. But not only Mike, but his sister Liz was responsible for a lot of the breaking stories at TMZ. But Mike was the one who facilitated the docs for me. So I want to make sure people know that The Blast, which is the company he started after he left TMZ, and they're all over the place. I mean, this is, it's interesting that the people that are actually breaking the news stories, we all have a connection to the site TMZ at some point or another. However, Mike was with TMZ for many years. So shout out to Mike Walters. I'm waiting for him to click on that link. I know he's watching right now, But let's go ahead and talk about this lawsuit, Attorney Anderson, and why is it so significant, and what are some of the allegations that have been alleged in this lawsuit? And we're going to do a document reading, but we're not going to tell you where it was filed at. We're not doing that right now. That's not what we're doing today.
Listen, I mean, I'm trying to skim through this lawsuit, more specifically the NDA, because they have attached Miesha Shakes, the individual who was in the interview, as well as Tasha K and her company. So they have several claims: extortion, breach of contract, which I believe is Miesha, intentional interference with contractual relation, which is Miesha, invasion of privacy, public disclosure, which will be Miesha and Tasha K, defamation, which will be both Miesha and Tasha K. Civil extortion would definitely be both, will be Tasha K, based off of the allegation. But this lawsuit, I'm having a hard time understanding what he's doing, because a lot of the information Miesha exposed on Tasha K was a part of his documentary. Before we
go into the documentary and trying to do an analysis, let's go by page for page, and then let's delve into the particulars of the lawsuit. Let's go with you. Let's start out with and that could be important, but I don't want to really analyze his reasoning more so than reading the documents and then going back into discussing it and why it's significant, why is he fired? Yeah. Because he did this before.
Can I ask a question before we get into the document? Because I'm coming from a publicist perspective of how, and the first thing I thought was I see the information on the NDA. I'm wondering why is it one lawsuit for both Tasha and Miesha? Like, why is it combined as opposed to individual? Because the allegations are slightly different.
Because it all is based around the interview. So these two individuals decided to do the interview together. So you can join parties that have contributed to the allegations that you're accusing them of committing against you. So that's the reason why. And it is more efficient to do so as well.
One more question on that point. So that makes perfect sense, because it all stems from this issue. But if one party is allegedly accused of attempting to extort and the other is just, would there be different penalty, or would it just, the ruling would just be for both sides?
No, so the when and if it ever goes to court or goes to a trial, let's say, a jury will be instructed on who is which defendant is accused of which allegation, and who they are to render a judgment on based off of what is presented during the trial. So they are able to add two individuals and try them at the same time, but the jury will also be aware of who is charged, who's responsible for which allegation in this suit.
And let me expand on what you just said. Kevin Hart, through his attorneys, is alleging that because his assistant had an NDA in place, Tasha K interfered with a contractual agreement he had with his assistant. And I don't know if she said it in her interview, because we were able to listen to the interview, Ms. Anderson and I, and we heard her reference the NDA that she signed in that interview. So Tasha knew that she did an interview because it was referenced in the interview she did on Tasha K Live. Shameless plug for her.
Yeah. It was referenced, as well as the assistant stated that she understands that there are some loopholes. And I will tell you, based off of the loopholes that she was speaking of, I can identify which loophole she's talking about. Like I stated, some of the loopholes come from the public documentary that he did, the criminal case that is public record. That information is not confidential when it is actually public record and you did a documentary on it. Also, if there's any criminal behavior or activity, there is reference of fraud that has been committed. Now, this is stuff that you don't want to be out in public, but however, I would have, if I was his attorney, I would have, of course, understood the basis of everything that she stated, because you don't want an insurance investigation to get started under
well,
fraud. I'm not going deep into it. I'm explaining the reasons why this individual is stating that there are loopholes in this particular lawsuit based off of the NDA. And a lot of people believe that an NDA is going to protect you through everything, and that is not the case.
Let me ask you a question, Thelma. If I work for Dennis and Dennis has me sign an NDA stating that I will not share information about what happens while I'm working with him, two questions. If he decides to share information, does that then allow me to share anything that he said publicly from my perspective? Because I feel like if you are quoting a documentary, that's a little different than giving your own perspective on a story, even if it is out. Secondly, is there a statute of limitations on the NDA? Do we know if there was a statute of limitations on the NDA, or was it something that anyone that works for his company can never speak about, indefinitely?
So on the first point, an NDA covers any protected information that you do not disclose to the public yourself. So if you disclose it, then you cannot hold that standard to your employee to say, oh, you cannot talk about it when you have disclosed it to the public yourself. NDAs do state that if you disclose this information, you are no longer protected on that aspect of your NDA, especially based off of the information that the individual decides to talk about. Now, you said on the second, what was the second?
The length of time. So is that
the length? So what the court looks at, customarily, and this is what I do in NDAs all the time, I put a time frame on it, a reasonable time frame after the dissolution of the relationship, whether you were working on a project and it's over, or you're an employee and if the employment has ended. There is a time frame that the court looks at that is a reasonable standard that is not included in these NDAs. And that is a concern of mine, because what the court is going to look at, okay, they're going to put their own interpretation on what is reasonable based off of the ending of the relationship. And I can tell you, she mentioned that he did not pay her proper wage at the end. That is a problem. A court can look at that. A court can say, oh, based off of the ending of this relationship, you violated your employee contract based off of not paying her wage. That could be something that they take into consideration on how long that they want to allow this NDA to be in place.
That's good.
Okay. So let's look at the lawsuit. Let's take it. Let's start reading some of the lawsuit and seeing what they're saying in the lawsuit and where, and then we can go back and do an analysis on the interview she did and see if there are merits to the lawsuit. Obviously, Kevin Hart has some very talented attorneys, but let's see why it required 21 pages. Tell me, you want to start out?
I'm gonna let you start.
Well, no, you can start. I don't have it in front of me. I sent it to you guys.
Oh, you want us to read it?
Yeah, let's read some of the lawsuit. Yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you. Oh, you did say you wasn't posting it.
No, we're not posting it. No.
I'm trying to find a place to start that
Well,
will.
that's why I let Dama, since she's an attorney, she would probably find a good place to start.
Yeah.
We can take it from that point.
Okay.
Take your time.
So I'll just start at parties. It's definitely a lot.
What
There's
page?
some
So
parts
she can
that
click.
don't need to
Yeah,
be
what page?
read.
So
It's
Crystal can
page
follow along
2.
as well. Page 2. Okay.
Let's see.
I cannot believe that
So
we are back at KB Studios. Jesus help us. Like, really?
Okay, let's go, guys.
we are. Hart is a comedian and actor who also is the chief executive officer of KHE and is authorized to act on the company's behalf. KHE is a California corporation engaged in various aspects of entertainment industry and related business endeavors. Plaintiffs are informed and believe and based thereon allege that at all times mentioned herein defendant Miesha Shakes was and is an individual residing and doing business in Los Angeles County, California. Beginning in and around August 8th, 2017 and continuing through October 22nd, 2020, Shakes was employed with Heartbeat Productions and KHE, a KHE predecessor entity, in various capacities, most recently as Hart's personal assistant. Plaintiffs are informed and believe and based thereof allege that at all times mentioned herein, defendant Latasha, what's her middle name?
Transrena Kibi. I know
Oh
well.
Lord,
Latasha Transrena
Transrena,
Kibi.
I've never heard that.
Transrena Kibi. Okay,
Transrena
girl.
Kibi.
Was and is an individual
Good
residing in
evening.
the state of Georgia and Florida who regularly transacts business in the state of California and county of Los Angeles, including in connections with matters at issue herein. Plaintiffs are informed and believe and based thereon allege that at all times mentioned herein, defendant Kibi Studios was and is a Georgia limited liability company which regularly transacts businesses in the state of California and county of Los Angeles, including in connections with the matter at issue herein. Plaintiffs are informed and believe and based thereon allege that Kibi through Kibi Studios operates a website www.tashaklive.com and is active on various social media platforms, including but not limited to Instagram and YouTube, wherein Kibi specializes in posting salacious and unverified news, gossip about celebrities. I don't think that was necessary, but Kibi has an established history of posting defamatory and otherwise improper content regarding celebrities. For instance, most recently, she was found liable for damages exceeding $3 million in defamation lawsuit by musician Cardi B. Plaintiffs are unaware of the true names or capacities of the defendants sued herein under the fictitious name does 1 through 20 inclusive and sue said fictitiously named defendants in accordance to California law. Plaintiffs are informed and believe and based thereon allege that at all times herein mentioned does 1 through 20, which is something that's coming later, y'all. So I know y'all like, what is 1 through 20? Are and were individuals, corporations, association, and otherwise. Plaintiffs will amend the complaint to allege their true names and capacities when they become known to the plaintiffs. Shakes, Kibi Studios, and does 1 through 20 are herein referred to collectively as defendants. So that means that they have more people that they are potentially going to add to this lawsuit once their identities are known.
Okay.
Plaintiffs are informed and believes and based thereon alleges that at all times mentioned herein, defendant including does 1 through 20 were agents, employees, representatives, fiduciaries, insurers, and are co-conspirators of each other. And the defendants were acting within the course and scope of such relationship and are responsible for acts alleged herein and approximate cause for plaintiff's damages. They're talking about her employees, by the way.
Okay.
So if you want to go into the facts, because we don't even have time, the jurisdiction is California. That's where Shakes resides. That's what the allegations in the complaint alleges, that jurisdiction is California. Jurisdiction is based off the NDA as well that resides in California. So all you need is one defendant to be located in the area, not both.
Okay.
Right. In this case, Kevin Hart and his assistant is located in California.
Yes. So if Crystal, you want to read
let her know where you stopped off at, so she can pick up.
It's on page.
Yeah, I think just because I know you want to the next page, which has got like the information about the NDA. Are you cool with that, Dennis? I think.
Yeah, I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. They made it public, so we can read that. Let's read the NDA.
Okay. The confidentiality agreement further provided that Shakes expressly agrees that recipients shall not directly or indirectly, verbally or otherwise publish, disseminate, disclose, or cause to be published, disseminated, or disclosed any confidential information to any person, firm, or entity, whatsoever. On or around October 22nd, 2020, Shakes on the one hand and Hart on behalf of himself, Heartbeat, and all other Hart-affiliated companies entered into a certain mutual release and non-disclosure agreement dated October 27, 2020. The NDA, a true and correct copy of the NDA, is attached hereto as Exhibit B. The NDA called for Hart to pay Shakes $30,000 per year for a period of 3 years, along with other consideration. $30,000 a year?
Okay.
Okay. The NDA defines as confidential information the following: private and confidential information which is not generally known to the public or readily ascertainable by proper means by others, and is subject to reasonable efforts to maintain its secrecy pertaining to any of the following: protected parties, Kevin Hart, his affiliated companies, i.e. K Hart Enterprises, Inc., KHE Production, LLC, KHE Digital, LLC, including their officers, directors, and executives, and Kevin Hart's family members, past, present, and future, and their affiliated entities, including their officers, directors, and executives. The NDA further provides that Shakes shall not directly or indirectly disclose, exploit, or disseminate confidential information to any person or entity whatsoever, including but not limited to family, friends, family members, journalists, tabloids, television or radio programs, websites, or internet social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, all collectively third parties, to threaten to do so. Shakes therefore had the duty to preserve the confidential information, both as defined in the confidentiality agreement and in the NDA as confidential. The NDA included an attorney's fee clause providing as follows: in any proceeding arising out of or related to this agreement or its enforcement, the prevailing party shall be entitled to recover all of his or her reasonable attorney fees, costs, and expenses incurred. In or around November 2023, Kebe conducted and recorded an interview with Shakes, wherein Shakes made various statements regarding Hart, his family, and Heartbeat personnel and or employees of other Hart-affiliated entities. Notwithstanding the truth or falsity of any such statements, Shakes would only have had knowledge regarding such subjects as a result of her employment with Hart and Heartbeat. Such information necessarily would have constituted confidential information as defined by the NDA, such as information regarding alleged personal relationships affecting the employment status of personnel at Hart-affiliated companies and subjects such as Hart's interaction with his family members. The interview also included false and defamatory statements regarding Hart and certain legal disputes in which he had been involved. During the interview, Kebe asked Shakes whether she was subject to any non-disclosure agreements which would have prohibited her from disclosing this type of information that was the subject of the interview. Shakes acknowledged that she and the plaintiff were in fact party to the NDA, but claimed that the agreement had unspecified loopholes that she apparently contended would enable her to escape the consequences of her brazenly violating her promises to the plaintiffs and the NDA and confidentiality agreement terms.
Crystal, hold it right there. Crystal, hold it right there. So what they're referring to is what Thelma and I had listened to on the interview, the actual interviews on Tasha K Live. Shameless plug. She's gonna need the money to pay for lawyers, I'm sure. But the assistant made reference to this NDA, and I don't know if she got legal advice as to whether or not she could have disclosed that. And and that's going to be a test for the courts. It's going to be a test that will happen through, I guess through discovery and through the preliminaries, and whether or not she's indemnified from the claim of her violating the NDA. So that's important because she might have had a belief that she was doing the right thing, but is that belief solely based on her understanding, or is that a belief that will be supported by the judge, who is obviously the person who had to make he's the referee who had to make the call? So go ahead, Crystal. I'm sorry.
Hold on. Let me find my place again. Hold
on. If Olga, if you're watching, are you ready for this one, Olga? That's Tasha K's former attorney.
Hold on.
Anyway, hold on. Before you go, they're saying my co-host is a part of Tasha K's team. They say she's a wino, and that's a wino's not that you're drinking, but that they're suggesting that you're a part of the team. Please let the people know that you
am
on her wine. No, not you. No, Thelma. They
make it make sense. I am reading a freaking court document. How can you all assess that I am affiliated or a supporter of someone for reading a document? Like, are y'all slow?
So she's not.
That's what it's giving. It's giving very slow.
No.
And I cannot help that.
They want you to embellish on the lawsuit, but you can't. You got to read it for what it is.
And it's a court document. It is nothing sexy about a court document. And I guarantee you all, if we call one of y'all up here to read it, you will not have a sexy rendition of a court document.
It's not. But Thelma, let me ask you this, because I saw your face when they mentioned in the document the fact that she was known for doing defamatory things, and they listed the Cardi B judgment. Did you feel like that was? Do you feel like that was not needed or should not have been brought into this lawsuit?
I mean, it's her life. Like, she went through it, so it's just a catch-all that attorneys do to throw shade in a lawsuit. Like, oh yeah, by the way, your hands ain't clean, and we know because you did this to somebody else previously. So it's just a shade tactic. It's public notice, it's public knowledge that this is a judgment. So it's very much relevant because they are literally saying that she's doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Just to remind people, and so it can grab the headlines. Correct?
Yeah.
Thelma, that was for you, Thelma. I mean,
why do
attorneys put things like that in the lawsuit if they don't want to, one, make sure the court is aware that this person might have a habit of doing things like this, and two, so when it's picked up by us journalists, we can say, whoa, oh, this is a trigger warning. Now they got her name in there. Cardi B's name is in the lawsuit. Yeah, I don't think too many people on the planet right now don't know that Tasha K was associated with a major lawsuit where she lost, and I think it's significant to mention that in the lawsuit.
Absolutely. And I mean, what a lot of individuals don't understand with the law, we use trigger words. And those trigger words are going to either make you or break you in a lawsuit. is going to make you react the way that we want to, or is going to break you down to where you're going to submit to what we ultimately want you to do. And it is to be afraid. If we are filing a lawsuit or we're responding to it, we're going to throw everything at you to let you know this is how we coming. We tried to warn you, but you didn't listen. So strap up, call your lawyer, and we're going to see you in court.
It's about persuading.
And that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah. In or around November 2023, an unidentified individual telephoned a Hart representative stating that the individual was affiliated with Kibi and that Kibi had conducted the interview with Shakes and that the interview included information or allegations that the Kibi representative claimed would be damaging to Hart's reputation. The individual stated that Kibi would publish the interview unless Hart paid a ransom of $250,000.
Hold on. Did they use the word ransom in this? Ransom? That sounds like that's criminal.
It sounds like
They better have a recording. They
said ransom. They used the term ransom. Was that some more stuff they were throwing in there? Or
let me tell you, if they do not have an actual, I mean, somebody saying that is being said and it's, factual, is definitely in question. So this is a trigger word. And if they did not say ransom, and it is not good. But I do believe that, that's a trigger word that we use. Like, we grabbing your attention. A ransom, everybody know a ransom is criminal.
Yeah.
Trying to extort someone. Yeah, that's criminal.
Yeah, that's a problem. Delma, they're saying when you say the word ransom, the comments say when you say the word ransom, you want to make it sound soft. It was a ransom.
Well, it sounds like that I'm asking for money for something that is very valuable, right? So you think of like ransom when it comes to like kidnapping or something that's precious to you. So it's the word is very colorful.
Very colorful.
Back into this part is the good. This is the good stuff because
give it to us, Crystal, the journalist.
I love it.
Give it to us.
Just for Thelma, because I'm wondering if Miesha Shakes made a good decision, even if she was going to share this, by attaching her train to Kibi Studios, because this is a very different. She's being allegedly what she's being accused of is very different. So on or around, so this is after the individual stated that Kibi would publish the interview unless Hart paid a ransom of $250,000. On or around November 17th, 2023, Kibi posted a teaser for the interview on YouTube, wherein she, along with Shakes, touted the supposedly salacious and damaging nature of the interview. The teaser video clearly was intended as a threat to Hart that the more detailed interview would be published if the ransom was not paid. The teaser included a statement from Kibi at the 2-minute and 6-second mark of the video, specifically warning that when you don't pay, we have to get money by any means necessary.
Wow. That's what's in the lawsuit. You can't listen. That is in the lawsuit. We don't know if it's said, but it's in the lawsuit, so they got to back that. Woo, that sounds like
that point. So Hart and his representatives contacted the police and did not pay the ransom that Kibi was demanding. On or around November 22nd, Hart's attorney, Dante Mills, wrote to Kibi demanding that she cease and desist all of her legally impermissible action towards Hart and that she refrain from publishing the interview. A true and correct copy of that cease and desist letter is attached hereto as Exhibit C. In that cease and desist communication, Mr. Mills specifically advised Kibi that Hart had contacted law enforcement about her threats. The
cease and desist letter also hold it there. Put a pin right there. So we know in the previous lawsuit that Tasha K had, Cardi B had with Tasha K, there was 3 cease and desist sent out. She ignored all 3. I was in the courtroom when the attorney representing Cardi B asked Tasha K on the witness stand, Miss Kibi, isn't it a fact that you received 3 cease and desist letters? And she essentially responded that, and did you also say that you would wipe one of them with your behind?
Oh.
And she said, hit the mic. Yes, I said that. That was said. So you had 3 cease and desist, and then she also said she had someone who was an attorney. I remember this very well because I was in the courtroom. She had someone that was an attorney that she didn't really give the name of who the attorney was. And those who were in the comment section that watched my reporting on the case recall that in the testimony, she said that it was someone who it was an attorney, but she couldn't tell the court who the attorney was that gave her advice about ignoring the cease and desist. And we took a break in the court case. That we went to lunch because they want her to come back with the attorney's information. She said, Your Honor, my phone is in the car. I didn't bring my phone in. And can I come back during lunch, after lunch with the attorney's name? Well, when she came back, she never had the attorney's name. So in other words, she still ignored the cease and desist. So this is a pattern. This is a pattern. And they may be able to, counsel, you can tell me if this is true or not. They may be able to look at some of the testimony in the last lawsuit, and they may not. Will be able to come in. Will that be something that can be told to a new jury that she was sued prior for similar acts? Can that come into the case? In this case, counselor?
Anything can come in.
Okay.
Anything, especially related to prior bad acts based on character, and she was under penalty and perjury. This is a statement that they can go, these court documents are discoverable. They can go and get the transcripts. They pay for the transcripts. And if she says anything different, they can impeach her on those statements. If she say, oh, I didn't say that. Oh, well, you recall when you were on trial for the exact similar thing. They wind it up for the jury, be like, oh, she's done this before. You remember you were cross-examined by such and such attorney, Cardi B's attorney, and they asked you this and you said yes, but now you're saying no. Which one is it?
Did you wipe this cease and desist with your behind as well? That's what they're going to ask. Because you said this in the other one. What did you do with this cease and desist? Did you wipe it with your behind? Did you get someone to tell you to ignore this one? So they're going to ask these kind of questions. I would. I mean, hey. Crystal?
Like everything is up for grabs.
I just, this is like I said, my thing is, I don't know what I'm not sure what the motivation for Miesha Shakes to come on and have this conversation with Tasha K, because this is definitely not probably going to be the best. She probably could have picked a better place to interview if she wanted to. Because I feel like with her situation, I don't know, but if she has loopholes, I mean, it sounds like she probably got clearance on, because I can't imagine her being a former assistant of Kevin Hart's and not realizing that that's a powerful machine. So I feel like she has to have someone had to give her some type of guarantee that she had a case, and she was cleared to have a conversation.
That person was probably Olga, allegedly. Olga probably told the assistant that she could talk.
I don't know.
Allegedly.
I think that my concern is that Tasha does have first of all, I gotta say, Tasha is definitely a force to be reckoned with. I mean, she is, I don't know what it is, but she's not gonna stop. She's intent to continue, because this is not even a full month after we heard that she was allegedly going to be sued by Will Smith and Jada's camp. Like it just, she keeps going back to that.
She gotta stop.
I don't think she's going to stop. She's not going to.
Here's the problem. Kevin Hart previously had a YouTuber shut down for making similar accusations. That person lost the channel. Mm-hmm. She had to change her name. I'm not going to say her name because I respect gossip in the city. I mean, I respect the person. What they hustle. But she had to change her name. It was a different name. Mm-hmm. There was a different name. She had, and see, Kevin goes hard.
Yeah, that's hard. These are not
These
small
girls will
time.
go. They went to the police department
immediately,
and we do not know as of today whether or not the detectives are investigating this extortion claim.
Which one?
In this lawsuit here.
So, and that's here's the thing with that. And this is why attorneys have to be careful in the allegations, because if you go and pay the $12 to see the interview, because she definitely did that intentional, charging people.
No, we're not promoting the Tasha K live. I may mention.
Well, no, I'm not promoting. I'm talking about that. I said if they go and pay it, they will see it.
Mm-hmm.
But this individual, Miesha, mentions that there was a setup regarding him and his allegations of cheating that he admitted to on his documentary, that he did go in this room with this woman, and their extortion plot was actually fake. That's what Miesha stated. The extortion plot was fake. She mentioned that the individual that she alleged that Kevin Hart recorded was a part of the recording of this video that was alleged to be extorted against him. So, and then to back it up with the friend who was cleared, that was the scapegoat for this particular claim. And there was a police report filed regarding Kevin Hart being a part of this extortion, that allegedly he was the one that created it to get out of being seen as a cheater. So those are things that will come out against him also. So when you are making,
counselor,
I'm not saying allegedly on something that is going to happen in court. If it goes to trial, these are facts that the opposing side that are defending themselves get to bring up about the individual that is suing them for the very same claim that they are saying that they are doing to him.
Okay.
So it's going to be a play of character. Cardi B didn't have this issue in her trial. Because she did everything by listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm not talking about her music. I'm talking about how she handled it legally. She had her attorneys from day one send a cease and desist. She even said, hey, if you apologize, this can go away. Kevin Hart is using the exact thing that the public is aware of and saying that this is happening to him after he has been accused of being the person that did it to himself. So all of that comes in. Nothing is off limits when you are playing the character against each other. And that's what a jury is going to hear. And they're going to have to judge, okay, who's really credible or not. The person who cried wolf and got away, or the person that's now crying wolf and want us to make sure that they don't get away.
Wait, are you saying the person who cried wolf and got away? Are you referring to the first lawsuit with Cardi and Tasha?
Yeah, I'm referring to the first extortion situation with Kevin.
Okay. I have a question for both of you, because I did not pay $10, and so I did not hear the interview.
And I didn't pay either. I heard it. I wasn't impressed. So
I didn't hear it. So
maybe $12.
So I did see the documentary, and I'm wondering, is there nothing shared in relation to his marriage with Eniko? Because we do know that Eniko put up a post that said, at this point, my level of IDAGF, I don't give a F, is on another level, right? And people assume that she was allegedly referring to this. It was, a trending topic. So I'm wondering, is there nothing that was said in that interview that he did not address, or that is it described in the same way? Because even though he did admit it, he did kind of, Kevin Hart is very charismatic, and he made it. I made a mistake. You didn't go deep into a dark place. So I'm wondering, is the interview revealing any piece that we did not get in that documentary?
That documentary was to save face.
Mm-hmm.
So I will tell you, there was supposed to be a part 2. We never got that part 2 of that, and that's very telling.
Yeah.
The part 2 is supposed to go deeper into the actual situation. What we got was very surface. So what she initial in her interview, she went back and stated what I saw from my very own eyes as to what happened. Now there are some parts that we did not know that was alleged in that particular interview. I did not know that there was a switching of the seats, that there's an allegation that Kevin paid the passenger to get into the driver's seat, and there was I said that.
I know. Just
but we heard that during the interview that she made these statements that were not a part of the documentary. Based off of the documentary I saw, I thought he wrecked his own vehicle.
Yeah.
And that was that.
And it could be a fact. It could be in fact he did do that, and she could be lying to Tasha K on that interview. She could essentially be lying to Tasha K on the interview for clout. That's a possibility.
Everything is possible. Everything is possible. I think
anything is possible. Anything is possible. The one thing that you have to clout is a hell of a drug.
Yes.
However, there are just things that people are not going to risk for clout. She was making $30,000 a year. $30,000. That is nothing. Wait. I get that, but $30,000 to come on and lie about something that they have stated they experienced, that's a far reach for me.
Well, it's a further reach when she gets in the courtroom and he's asking for millions of dollars. People do. Let me say something, and let me say this: the young lady who went on Tasha K's platform as it related to Cardi B said,
"You're promoting Tasha,
huh?
You're promoting
no.
Tasha.
Let me talk about the case. In that situation, Star Marie Jones said some things in that interview that were lies. She got on the platform, and now she still owes Cardi as well. But at the point that she's saying this stuff, it sounds good. She gets the adrenaline. She can say anything. We see this all the time. We've seen Gilbert Arenas say the ridiculous. So, in my opinion, this is my opinion, the most ridiculous thing about our national treasure, Halle Berry. He said this, he's worth money as well. So we cannot just give people, because they get on a person's platform who's been sued first. That's the first mistake right there. The person's been sued already. Why would you be telling any story to that person that you know that person is in debt to someone else? So I don't give too much weight to the person going to another person's platform. That's just my opinion. You may have a different opinion, and Chris, you may have a different opinion, but that's my opinion.
I kind of feel like, I know from being a publicist and working with assistants, there's no one that has more access to a person than they.
Hold on, guys. Time out. Shout out to the lead attorney. Let me drop the link in with the lead attorney. He's in the building. I see that's my brother right there. And listen, I'm gonna drop the link for the lead attorney. I had to turn to my right. I saw the lead attorney there. I'm saying, wait a minute, hold on. Yeah, I'm gonna drop that link. That's just for the lead attorney. I'm dropping the link for the lead attorney. But go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I just think there's that assistants, publicists, managers have unlimited access to talent's business, right? That person becomes, they're trusted. I think two things. I question the character of an assistant that would do that, because that is, to me, it's unethical, right? For even if you were at one point working with that person, that's not a lot of money. So it must have been for the opportunity, which it is a great opportunity because Kevin Hart is one of the biggest stars in the world. So if you are working with him, there's going to be other opportunities and situations that people that you're introduced to, your network is going to grow. So the money may not be the motivation for that. But it's hard for me to believe that she would come on and lie, just because of the fact that it's mentioned that she was aware that she mentioned to Tasha K that she was aware that she did have an NDA. And she also is aware of how powerful and how that that machine moves, right? So you know the nuances and the way that people that you work for, especially that closely. I can't imagine her just coming on and spouting this stuff that has no truth to it and not being aware, because that would be
what is her motivation? I ask, ladies and gentlemen, what is this young lady's motivation that she would, with all everything you said and all the value and benefits of working with Kevin Hart, what would be her motivation?
Well, let's be honest. A lot of people that work for other people are taken advantage of. And if she wasn't paid, money is always a motivation for people to turn and their allegiance to all of a sudden, pivot from that situation. So we don't know what happened. I mean, I didn't hear the interview, but it just, clout is one thing, but I feel like you got to know that the way Kevin Hart's team moves, everyone in entertainment and probably on the outskirts knows that there's a lot of money there. They're very, they're quick to go after people. And Kevin has said he's not going to be extorted. He actually came out and said that I'm not going to do it. He was talking about another situation, that was foolishness. But I just can't see her making this up. Totally.
Well, I'll put something out here. She's known to pay people to do interviews. So if that's a motivation. Money is a motivation.
Girl, obviously,
they all do it. She's not the only one. They all do it.
But we're talking about this young lady who was under an NDA that might have been offered $10,000.
But the NDA is a little faulty. I read through it.
We can't litigate the NDA here. We're not going to litigate.
I can talk about what I saw. It's a little faulty. It's definitely given that his attorneys need to tighten that NDA up.
Let me ask you a question. I'm just going to put it out there. Would you represent Tasha K?
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay, I just want to make
sure.
That's
a stress that I would never bring to my life.
You would definitely be
she couldn't even call me and ask me for advice. No, I want no parts of it, because you don't listen. She doesn't listen.
She don't care. She does not care. She does not take advice. But Dennis, she
would not waste my good years.
That woman is not motivated by money. She was working on a yearly salary of $30,000 living in LA as a personal assistant. Money is not her. It's not her motivating factor.
Right. So let me
say this. Let me say this, Dennis. Let me say this, because I think this is important. I think the three of us probably have experienced this work in entertainment. A lot of times people are not there because of the financial gain. They're there because they want to be a part of something bigger, right? So a lot of times the feel of being a part of something and being able to get in and have access to this world is something that people will work for. And those people that are not motivated by money, if you abuse their work and all that they put in, a lot of times they're more hurt than if somebody's just there for money, you don't pay them, they're going to leave. But if they really are there because they want to be impactful and they want to be a part of something and be able to leave their mark, and you mistreat them, they are a lot of times a lot more resentful and embittered, because it's like, I was doing everything I could. And I don't know the situation, but I do know that $30,000 for a personal assistant, that is not a person that's motivated by money. And even if Tasha K did offer her 10 grand, that's a third of what she was making a year. I just don't see that being a motivation.
So even with that said, there must have been something that happened between Kevin Hart and his assistant for them. At some point, we have to say that loyalty means something. Like, I'm from a school of loyalty. Chris, you've known me for how many years? Many years, right? You never had to worry about me stabbing in your back or doing anything undercut, because I don't rock like that. And you want people around you that you can, even with a document. But if you don't have loyalty, a document means nothing. It means nothing. You can have people sign contracts all day, but if you don't have the loyalty to back up you have no integrity, then guess what? The paperwork means nothing. So,
but then these people, when you are a star at that level, and I'm not speaking about Kevin Hart specifically because I don't know him personally, but I am saying that when you have people that are at that level of celebrity, they are not always, first of all, loyalty is something that you can't see up front. That takes time to get to know and to watch a person's integrity. But a lot of times people at that level, they do not value the smaller people on their team. They also feel like everybody is, I got enough money, I can replace you. And so the people that are there because they really want to contribute, they want to really, there's so many people that have left situations feeling taken advantage of and discouraged.
Absolutely.
And so you can't really compare those two. I've seen it more often than not, and I'm not blaming the celebrity because there's a lot that comes out of what they do, and they probably don't have an opportunity to really, make everybody feel important and valued. But a lot of times when people are there grinding and you're not getting much and you just want to be a part, and then you're treated unfairly, or you feel like you've been treated unfairly, in your mind, it can leave you feeling very, very resentful. And that's why
you hit the nail on the head. There's some type of resentment. And sometimes when you have a level of resentment, you might also have motivation to lie or embellish a person's character. So you got it. Let's be honest. Like the fact that you will take your big stuff over to this woman's platform and tell this story, and I'm saying it story, we don't know how much validity that story has, because you might have resentment to say and motivation to say something that is derogatory, inflammatory, and defamatory about that man. So we don't know this. No one can say this. It looks good on paper, but we don't know that this person hasn't went through the test. When people are on the witness stand, I've seen it. I see it every time I go in the courtroom. That energy they have, even with Tasha K, she doesn't make a good witness on the stand, by the way. I've seen her.
That's clear.
There are people in the courtroom seeing it. She makes an awful witness on the stand. So this time she's going to be joined by not only her attorney, whoever that may be, but this other individual that's named in the lawsuit. So we don't know this. We can't assume the person because they're on the platform, they tell them the story, that they tell them the truth. I never make that assumption when people get in front of me.
You can't assume it's true, and you can't assume it's false.
Absolutely.
Exactly. That's
exactly.
what six. That's where the jurors are going to.
I'll get fired up. Can we finish reading the lawsuit, Crystal?
Hold on. I gotta find my.
We gotta go back to. We gotta regroup.
I gotta pull it back up. Hold on. We got into the conversation there because I really think that is that. Hold on. We were talking about Kibi. Yes. Okay, the cease and desist letter. So all right. So on December 22nd, so remember, we just going back on November 22nd, Hart's attorney sent the cease and desist over, advising Kibi that Hart and Shakes are parties to the NDA, blah, blah, blah. And then on December 22nd, a few days ago, Kibi advised Hart's representatives that she would, in fact, be publishing the interview. She stands on what she stands on what she says. I don't know if it's business, but she really digs down. Like you got to kind of respect the fact that she has the resolve to keep pushing forward. So she says,
I don't know about all that, but I get I mean, what you're saying.
Hey, if you're gonna be wrong, be all the way wrong. And she goes in. So she
right. You didn't give me that $250,000. I'm on standing on business.
It's giving bias. It's giving bias, Dennis.
I'm sorry. But Kibi advised Hart's representatives that she would, in fact, be publishing the interview. That evening at approximately 6 p.m. Pacific time, Kibi published the interview on her website, TashaKLive.com, specifically at the link, and the link is listed here, charging viewers a $12 a month subscription fee in order to access and view the interview. Yes.
I paid.
You did?
I wanted to see, like, if I'm going to report on something, I need to see exactly what this person said to see how credible they are and what they're actually saying is different from what's in a lawsuit.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. Let me ask you this. Is it looked upon from the court's perspective negatively that she got this information that could be false and she's charging to put it out? Is that at all an issue?
I think when we're talking about, I don't think as far as credibility, because she does that, she's done it before. So they'll look at how often has she done it. Is this the first time? Did she wait for this moment because these people turned her down that she was going to charge and she was going to make that money?
Gotcha.
That's what they would look at. And especially for damages, let's say Kevin Hart wins. What they would do is an audit of her account to see how many views, how much money was generated, so that they can determine how much they want, how much the damages they are going to recoup from that. And then they're going to add an additional interest and love handles on top of it because of what happened. That's if they are to be victorious. That's what a jury is they're going to ask a jury, they're going to put on evidence and say, this is what we want y'all to pay attention to. And that's how a jury will go back and make that determination. They'll look at all that information, determine the right amount, and they'll make their award based off of that if he's victorious on it.
Okay, this is another good part. This is the juicy part of the lawsuit.
Hold on, guys. Don't come for me. Don't ever come for me like that again. Go ahead, guys.
Sounds like somebody knows you personally. The act of contacting an individual and threatening to make public statements about them in order to induce payment of money is extortion pursuant to California Penal Code Section 518 and 519. The statement by Kibi's representative that the interview would be published if Hart did not pay constitutes extortion as defined in California Penal Code Sections 518 and 519. As a direct and proximate result of the acts described above, plaintiffs have been damaged in an amount to be proven at trial. Defendants' extortionate threats were done with oppression, fraud, and malice, with the intention of depriving plaintiff Hart of his personal liberty, property, or legal rights, and otherwise causing injury, and such actions were despicable conduct that subjected the plaintiffs to unjust hardship and conscious disregard of plaintiffs' rights, such as the plaintiffs are entitled to recover punitive and exemplary damages in addition to all actual and statutory damages to which plaintiffs are entitled in order to set an example and deter such conduct.
Crystal, hold on right there, the conduct.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, you guys are watching this live. Make sure you're hitting the like button. Make sure you are sharing this. And if you have a question that you want to stand out and you want it to be read, you know what you have to do. Hit the super chat. Let people know that your question need to be stood out. If you have a particular question, I'm not reading anyone's questions. If I don't see those colors coming in, we're going to keep on reading the document. Go ahead, Crystal. I'm sorry.
You wild for that. All right. So the second cause of action, breach of contract against Shakes. Plaintiffs hereby incorporate by reference paragraphs 1 through 34, inclusive as if fully set forth herein. Plaintiffs and Shakes are parties to the NDA, which is supported by valid consideration, including but not limited to Hart's payment of $90,000 to Shakes. Now remember, that was $30,000 over a 3-year period. Plaintiffs have performed all of the terms, conditions, covenants, and promises required to be performed by them under the NDA, except those terms, conditions, covenants, and promises, if any, which Shakes prevented plaintiffs from performing. Shakes has breached the NDA by disclosing information and or making allegations that would necessarily entail disclosure of information defined as confidential information under the NDA, including statements regarding personal and employment matters at Heartbeat and or other Hart affiliated companies, and statements regarding Hart's interactions with his family members. As a direct and proximate result of Shakes' material breaches of the NDA, plaintiffs have suffered damages, including without limitation in the principal sum of $90,000 that Hart paid as consideration under the NDA, in addition to further damages in an amount according to proof at trial. So he wants the money that he paid her salary back.
No, what he's doing is, so when there's a contract, there's an offer, acceptance, consideration. That's what they're lining out, how this is a breach of contract. They enter into this NDA. They agreed that she was going to be the assistant, and in return, the consideration that he was going to pay and her performance was to be the assistant. but for she breached that agreement, but then the consideration over the 3 years was 90,000. So that's essentially what they are ironing out for the court to understand.
Gotcha. Okay, hold on. Let me go back. That's interesting to me. I'm interested because as a publicist, I always encourage clients to have an NDA with anyone working with them, like at any case, and to think that there could be, maybe we need to make sure that, I mean, we have great entertainment lawyers, but just need to make sure that that NDA is airtight. Yeah. So the third cause of action is intentional interference with contractual relations against Kibi. Plaintiffs
this
hereby.
one gets juicy for me.
Say it again.
This gets juicy.
So plaintiff hereby incorporate by reference paragraphs 1 through 39 inclusive as if fully set forth herein. At the time of the interview, Kibi was aware that plaintiffs and Shakes were parties to the NDA, with Kibi specifically asking about and Shakes specifically confirming that she and the plaintiffs were parties to said agreement. After the interview, Kibi was further advised that plaintiffs and Shakes were parties to the NDA, that the subject matter of the interview necessarily constituted confidential information as defined by the NDA, and that the publication of the interview would constitute interference with the NDA. Despite being fully aware of the plaintiff's contractual relationship with Shakes under the NDA, Kibi published the interview after undertaking the independently wrongful conduct of making the extortionate threats described therein. As a direct and proximate result of Kibi's conduct, plaintiffs have suffered damages in an amount, according to proof, including without limitation, not less than 90,000. Hart paid as consideration under the NDA, in addition to damages in further amounts, according to proof at trial. The actions of Kibi is intentionally interfering with the plaintiffs and Shakes' contractual relationship under the NDA were done with oppression, fraud, and malice, with the intentions of depriving the plaintiff of their personal liberty, property, or legal rights, and otherwise causing injury. And such actions were despicable conduct that subjected the plaintiff to unjust hardship in conscious disregard of the plaintiff's rights, such that plaintiffs are entitled to recover punitive and exemplary damages, in addition to all actual and statutory damages to which the plaintiffs are entitled in order to set an example and deter with such conduct.
This is a reach.
Okay, so go ahead, Counselor. I see you shaking your head. Why is it a reach?
This is a reach because what they're essentially trying to do is put the responsibility off on Tasha K that the actual former employee has. That is going to be a hard reach that if I'm, even though I do not want to be, I would do a SMJ specifically on that particular allegation because it's a reach. Show me how you think in your NDA that I'm responsible for your employee exposing something that y'all agreed on. No, I'm not responsible for that. I'm responsible for, the other situations that are not tied to a contractual agreement. I'm not a party to the agreement. I owe you no loyalty.
And to your point, the employee is not required, the former employee is not required, the assistant not required to show Tasha K the NDA, because that in itself would violate the NDA.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly.
What they essentially said is saying with this particular section, she told you she had an NDA. That should have been an end of discussion. That's not how it goes. That's not her responsibility to abide by the NDA that you and the former employee agreed on. That is a far reach.
Let me ask you a question. And this is an entertainment law question. Artist A comes to me for management. Artist A tells me that he has another manager, but and he signed a contract. So the first thing I'm going to think about in my mind is, before I get sued for tortious interference, I want to see a release from Artist A, so I won't do any engagement with Artist A until I know clearly in writing that you have been released from your agreement. Because tortious interference happens a lot in the entertainment industry. So I guess my question is does she have a ethical responsibility to see whether or not she would be indemnified from a lawsuit like as such. This is what we have here today.
She does not, because they are not going into business together. She simply is coming on her platform to tell her story. They did not create a partnership. Nothing of that nature. No relationship was created.
That example that you used was a little flawed, because managers, if I am a manager and you're a manager and your client.
Don't do that no more, guys. Oh, I'm sorry, Krista. I'm sorry. It was
Your
a little
client
flawed.
comes to me. Your client comes to me and wants to be represented by me. I've seen this happen, and it may be wrong, but it may be unethical, but it's not illegal, right? So a lot of times what the manager that's being solicited will do is ask for the contract, send the contract to their lawyer, and see if there is a way to either buy the talent out of that contract or negotiate to get the talent out of that contract. So a conversation is had, and a lot of times the manager will reach out and try to make a deal to get to be able to represent that artist. That happens all the time.
It happens.
And it also happens the other way too. It happens. It's happened to me one time.
How is that? What do you mean?
That I didn't do my due diligence and enter into agreement when someone else had an agreement in place, and I relied on an attorney to do their part to make sure I was covered, but then it didn't happen that way. So, without going into too many details, because it's a very famous person associated with that situation, I don't want to put their name out there. But it's happened to me. So I understand that, you can do it that way, but it was in my instance, it didn't happen that way.
Well, I've been the publicist involved, and it went the other way many, many times. In fact, a lot of people that are, most people that are at a certain level have left management, and a lot of times they don't leave at the end of that contract. They leave, mid-contract, and they come to an agreement. So,
right. What page are you on, Crystal?
I know. Hold on. I know I'm at 4. I gotta pull it back up.
Oh, page 4?
Yeah, hold on. Not page 4. It's at we're at clause 4, which is invasion of privacy. Okay. Here we go. All right. So 4th cause of action, invasion of privacy, public disclosure of private facts against all defendants. Plaintiffs hereby incorporate for reference paragraphs 1 through 45, inclusive, as if fully set forth herein. In the interview, defendants disclose purported private facts regarding Hart, his family members, Heartbeat employees, and or personnel at other Hart-affiliated companies. The interview was published on Defendant Kibi's website and thereby disclosed publicly. Some of the matters Shakes purported to disclose suggested private facts, including but not limited to statements regarding personal relationships affecting the employment status of personnel at Hart-affiliated companies and interactions among Hart and his family members. The publication of such facts would be offensive and objectionable to the reasonable person. The purported private facts published during the interview are not of legitimate public concern. The defendant's actions in publishing private facts regarding the plaintiff were done with oppression. Here we go. Oppression, fraud, and malice, the intention of depriving the plaintiff of his personal liberty, property, and legal rights, and otherwise causing injury. And such actions were despicable conduct that subject the plaintiff to unjust hardship in conscious disregard of the plaintiff's rights, such that plaintiffs are entitled to recover punitive and exemplary damages in addition to all actual and statutory damages to which the plaintiffs are entitled in order to set an example on such conduct. And then the 5th cause of action is defamation against Shakes. That was Tasha K or Kibi, as noted here. Plaintiffs hereby incorporate by reference paragraphs 1 through 51, inclusive as if fully set forth herein. During the interview, Shakes made a number of statements regarding plaintiff Hart. Those statements were published on Kibi's website. Shakes made statements during the interview that were false, including that Hart recorded a video of a sexual encounter and that he faced criminal charges regarding the supposed incident. Such statements were defamatory and were not privileged. Such statements had a natural tendency to injure Hart. Shakes' actions in publishing defamatory statements regarding Hart were done with oppression, fraud, and malice, with the intention of depriving Hart of his personal liberty, property, of legal rights, and otherwise causing injury, as such actions were despicable conduct that subjected Hart to unjust hardship and conscious disregard of his rights, such that Hart is entitled to recover punitive damages in addition to all actual and statutory damages to which the plaintiffs are entitled in order to set an example and deter such conduct. Therefore, plaintiffs pay for judgment against the defendant as follows. As to first cause of action, for general damages, according to proof in excess of the jurisdiction minimum for this court, for compensatory damages, according to proof, for punitive damages as allowed by law. As to second cause of action, breach of contract, for compensatory damages according to proof, but in an amount not less than $90,000, and for attorney's fees and costs of suit therein. As to the third cause of action, for compensatory damages according to proof, but in an amount not less than $90,000, for punitive damages as allowed by law. As to the fourth cause of action, for compensatory damages according to a proof in excess of the jurisdictional minimum for this court, and punitive damages as allowed by law. As to the fifth cause of action, defamation, for compensatory damages according to proof in excess of the jurisdiction minimum for this court, and for punitive damages as allowed by law, on all cases of action for prejudgment interest as allowed by law, for costs of suit herein incurred, and for such other and further relief as the court may deem proper.
Crystal, what page number are you on? What page number are you on?
That was 11.
Page 11?
Yeah, so next is that's the lawsuit, and the next is the confidentiality agreement
and the NDA.
And the NDA.
Yeah. Hold on, let me go to the page. I'm gonna help you out. Is that the page you're on?
Yes,
the next page. I read that page.
Okay, so let me give you some relief here. Let me go over.
Well, I've actually got an 8 o'clock, so I've got to jump off.
Okay, just tell me where you're at, and I can take over.
That's it right there. That's it.
That's the page?
Yep, that's the page.
So I don't think we need to read the contract.
We don't need to read the confidentiality agreement.
No, we don't need to read that.
Mm-mm.
Okay, what do I need to stop at? Get off that. Okay, get out of here. So this is exhibits. Are we down to the exhibits?
Yeah, this is what the plaintiff alleged. One is the agreements that are between Hart and Shakes, the cease and desist that was sent over to Kibi Studios. So that's the only exhibits that are part of this, in which they stated they can and will amend when they get the names of the other individuals.
Okay, so they're about to bring smoke to some other individuals. Crystal, I want to thank you for joining. I wish you could stay longer, because I had a few questions for you as well. If you could come back at some point, I would appreciate it.
Okay, I'll definitely try to do that.
Tell Scorpio I said hello.
I will. Thelma, good to get that insight, because I think it's important that I try to ask questions that I think people that don't understand the law want to know, and I think having this kind of gives us context, because a lot of things that people see on social media don't have context, and so it's important to be able to give context for what these allegations are. So it's great seeing Dennis continue to Enquirer continue to do true journalistic work. I think you need a lawyer on all these conversations at this point.
Absolutely, because you know me, they say he Mr. Know-It-All. No. I'm bringing lawyers on.
You are a bit biased, but you know it's all good because you got your
bias.
Like, yes.
You know,
just a wee bit.
She said I didn't.
Well, I'll try to jump back on.
Absolutely, I appreciate you, Crystal.
Okay, bye guys.
All right, bye, Crystal.
So I mean, we saw the lawsuit. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I did drop some of the lawsuit there, so you can try screen grab it and all that. You can do all that because I know you don't have it tonight. But
Listen.
Counselor, so I saw you shaking your head towards the end of Crystal's reading. Did you see something else that stood out for you as the objective attorney?
So going back to the fourth cause of action, was it the fourth cause? Yes, where they basically lined up Miss Shakes and said that, you know, she has released information that was personal, which is why the confidentiality agreement does say things about family members and business associates. So this is where I need them to be very careful. Is majority of the stuff that she said on that interview is tied to the freaking documentary. Everything that is public knowledge. And this is stuff that you divulged to the public because you were trying to do you were trying to save your career campaign. Now, some of the things
that may be a defense.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm just adding what is the likelihood of their response. So when if he never would have done that public documentary, he would have had more meat to go off of. So now there are things that were said that I have not heard, which is an additional woman that he had been sleeping with that she communicated to the wife about. Those are things that we didn't know about. We knew about what happened in that hotel.
Well, that's what she said.
That he said it on the documentary as well. These are statements that he said on the documentary. If you go and watch it, this is not something, she's just repeating what actually happened. So if he would have never done that interview or never put it out, we would not know all of the background parts of it. We know that the friend was used as the scapegoat and was exonerated of it. There are things in the defamation part about a criminal investigation. They can easily go and get a police report that identifies his name on it and say, this is why we said what we said. So when people say, oh no, this did not happen, a police report being filed is sufficient to say, oh, you were attached to this based off of the police report. So it's a lot of things that are entailed in this particular suit that I'm not sure if his attorneys really buckled down and had a session with each other, a collaborative, to really hone in, okay, this is what we have. This is what we know can come out. So we need to scale it based off of what is actually not a part of the public. Anything that is private, that's what we need to focus on, because they are marrying and putting things that are public knowledge into it, and it's going to confuse a jury in trying to understand, and that can hurt your case. Because it can hurt it more so because if a great defense, a civil defense attorney comes in and chops it up in a summary judgment, then that could be problematic because they'll have to go and argue that some motion for summary judgment. And when they're putting on all this information, which a judge will be the ultimate decider of the merits, the facts, and the evidence, that could lead to chopping down a lot of these allegations based off of what is public knowledge. Yeah,
that's the goal in any lawsuit of this magnitude, that you want to chop it down to its bare minimum to when you get to a front of a jury, you don't have much to at issue, because the judge is going to he's not going to put a lot of junk in front of a jury. Judges don't do that. They want to filter all the nonsense out, and then they'll say, this is what you have to decide on. Because a lawsuit, most lawsuits don't the way they start, they don't finish that way. In most lawsuits.
It doesn't, and that's why for me, I'm looking at it from the standpoint of you're always as a litigator. When you go and file a lawsuit, you better be thinking about the standpoint of a jury. What are you going to be able to prove in front of a jury? Because that is going to be the deciding factor of if you win your case or not. So everything that you tailor in every motion that you file, you better be filing it from the basis of trying to make sure that a jury will understand you and not overreaching. That's why I said some of this stuff is overreaching, especially in a defamation. When this stuff is public knowledge, you are saying something, you are telling us, okay, well, how are you going to prove it? We prove it with the truth. These are truthful things that we can prove by pulling up your documentary, pulling up these offense reports, bringing in the individual who was exonerated from this extortion claim that was your friend and blackballed out of the industry. We bring these individuals in. And you have to be careful because now your character comes into question. That's why attorneys have to be very authentic in what they're doing when they're filing these lawsuits, because it could very well hinder them in their ability, and you look even worse in front of your client. You got to be real with your client. These are conversations that you have to have with your client. When you sit down and you are preparing your client to file a lawsuit, you got to know everything that you don't know about them. Because if you do, if I know that there is some truth to this based off of what my client said, I'm going to be real with them. And I'm going to say, no, we're not going to play this game in the court. This is not what we're not going to do because you made these decisions along the way. Now, this is what we can do based off of things that were not public knowledge, but we're not going to play and have a circus in a public, a court of a public opinion because you want me to satisfy your ego. I'm not here to satisfy your ego. I'm here to represent you and tell you the truth and not violate my ethical and moral standards.
Well, I'm gonna say that I believe Kevin Hart has some very seasoned and talented attorneys, and this is probably not their first rodeo. And I would just say for the public to watch how this unfolds, because there is a lawsuit filed and there's going to have to be a response. And then whatever that response is going to be like back and forth, like a tennis match to see who can, I seen the original lawsuit that Cardi had against Tasha K. Well, everything how it started out, it didn't all end that way. So I'm not going to assume that they didn't do their homework just based on the filing, because I'm sure they know things that none of us know. We don't have privilege.
I am because what I saw with my own two eyes with this documentary and the conversation and this filing is giving that y'all didn't have that conversation. Okay, that's what is given to me.
Are you saying tonight that his attorneys didn't do a good job in this filing?
I'm saying that he's not being truthful with his attorneys. That's what I'm saying. And your attorneys can only do what they know. And I know I do not believe that attorney would go and file something when their client has been 100% truthful with them. And if I'm looking at it from a litigation standpoint, being a former litigator, and I know based off of some of the things that I've seen with my own two eyes, I do not believe that an attorney would proceed the way that these allegations are being proceeded based off of your client being truthful. And I'm going to tell you, clients lie. Clients will lie to you every single day, and they will get on that stand and get ate up every single day because they are not truthful. So I'm not putting the responsibility off on the attorneys because we can only do so much. We can only tell you that you got to tell us every single thing as if we are a married couple. You got to tell us everything because if you don't, we cannot save you.
I would hope Kevin is smart enough and honest enough to be very candid with his attorneys, because they're the ones that go battle for him. And we're in the infancy stage of a lawsuit. So again, let's see how this plays out. This is nothing absolute at this point, but a lawsuit being filed. Can we just say that?
Yeah. There's a lawsuit filed in an interview that has been swarming and having the internet in a chokehold.
We're not promoting that interview. I heard some of it. I wasn't impressed. It wasn't nothing really impressive, but there was a few things said that I said to myself, I said, well, I hope they can prove that what they said, and as it relates to the insurance issue, the whole.
You know how easy that is?
Excuse me?
That's discovery.
Yeah, I'm saying for me, listening to it, I'm talking about me listening to it. I had a concern about what she said in that part, and let's see if that will manifest into something that can change the trajectory of this lawsuit. So that's interesting. But again, discovery will show paperwork and timelines and what was said. And because she said one thing, but we don't know she even seen the insurance policy. We don't know she seen. She was an assistant. We don't know she's seen the insurance policy. Did she take some documents when she left? We don't know none of that. But to make that type of allegation, it's a criminal claim. She made a criminal claim.
That's why I said, if you don't share everything with your attorney, the world will find out about it.
Well, we're gonna see how this thing. I don't think it's gonna go the distance. Again,
I don't think it. I would file a SMJ so fast. My response will be, of course, a general denial. I will provide affirmative defenses, and I would do a motion to dismiss. All in one, all in my response. I'm not gonna play with you and a lot of these judges, bluff.
They're not gonna get this case dismissed like that. I don't see that happening.
No, it's not. I'm not saying it's going to be dismissed. I'm saying their attorneys, their response, they have to respond to this lawsuit, and in their response, they need to file a general denial along with a motion to dismiss, along with their affirmative defenses.
Tasha K did that in her last lawsuit. I can tell you that she did the same thing.
And that's fine. I'm just saying the procedural
effects
of what they need to do.
And they could do a countersuit as well.
They have to argue it. They go before the judge, present their. I think, to be honest with you, I think Tasha K has a better leg to stand on than she did with Cardi B.
Say that again.
I said I think Tasha K has a better leg to stand on than when she was a part of the Cardi B situation.
Well, I'm not jumping out the window on that one.
No, it's not. It's being realistic. I'm not saying. I didn't say she was going to win. I said she has a better leg to stand on.
Does she have a better lawyer? That's the question. Do she have a better lawyer? That's the question. Is she going to pro se? Is she going to have a good attorney? Because she's going to have a good attorney no matter what she does. Or you think she's going to prevail without having a good attorney? She needs a good attorney. Are you frozen? Oh.
I don't listen.
I'm
pretty sure she's going to use her. I was reading the comments. It's something, I don't pay attention to, fans, because that's what they are.
Now listen,
and it's okay to be a fan. And I appreciate all the fans and, all of the social media lawyers. I would very much welcome you into this profession. I would ask that you take your LSAT. There are some states that don't require LSAT. Go to law school, become an official attorney before you try to read one, because you would never prevail. Okay, but thanks for being a fan.
Listen. People saying I'm hating. No, I'm not hating. I'm just listen. I don't listen. If you don't have a good attorney going into this battle, I don't see how you're going to prevail. I've seen twice, two times in two different proceedings that the attorneys got their behinds kicked in two situations involving Tasha K. The attorneys got their butt kicked. They got their butt kicked. So I don't know. Maybe this may be the prevailing opportunity based on your confidence that she has a better shot at this without even knowing who her attorney is. I don't know.
I mean, listen, this is not a federal case. This is a state district court case. This is not a federal case. So of course, I mean, it's different kinds of attorneys that you have to have. Like you going federal, yes, you have to have an experienced federal attorney that practice in federal jurisdiction. You have a state court, state case, that's a different level of attorney. So I state cases don't have the same energy that a federal case will have. It's totally different. That's just like federal criminal cases have a different energy than a state criminal case has.
I want to say this, Counselor. I want to say this: the benefit for the public is this case can be televised. This is going to be in a California courtroom and likely televised. This will be a case that will likely be televised, and this is a big stage. So Tasha K can actually be in the courtroom in California, and it's going to be televised. In a federal case, there was no cameras allowed in federal court. So this may get, if it goes the distance, this will have cameras in the courtroom. And guess what camera will try to be in that courtroom case? But anyway, so this is different.
This is different.
Will Kevin want the nosy reporter in the courtroom with the camera, like I'm at the YSL trial and the Trump trial with the camera,
which starts back next week.
It sure does, and the cameras are waiting, but I don't know. This is now she'll really be on the big screen if she. Just imagine this: Tasha K to the right of the court TV or the. This is going to be big. Shout out to my girl Julia at Court TV. I'm sure they, law and crime and so forth will cover it. I think this is big. I tell Tasha, go all the way with this. Tell Kevin Hart, we ready to fight. Go all the way, Tasha. I'm telling you, go all the way. Bring you and Olga in the courtroom and fight this to the bitter end. And I promise you, we'll give you the coverage.
Well, Olga has to be licensed in California to try the case. This is not a federal case. So
she has to file.
She got to get
Jose Baez. Jose Baez is from Florida. Jose Baez, you're from Florida. She's from Florida. Maybe you guys have a conversation. Come in, because he got knotted in based on filing the top of my head the. Whether you have to file the goal to get it's on top of my head, but
Pro Havici.
Pro Havici to be able to be admitted in California court. So this will be televised. So this will be a nationally televised case. Tasha K, you have graduated to national TV.
You have graduated to another suit in less than 2 years. For the life of me, I don't think she would ever learn. And you would think that she would sit down and stop playing in these legal streets. Girl.
I mean, the problem I have here is the whole $250,000 and that part. Like here's
that's not good. That is not good.
That's if you're about to do an interview and you have the tea, why are you then trying to sell your tea without putting out the tea? That's very suspicious for me, for them to be even requested $250,000 and you have the tea already. Put your tea out. So are you trying to get?
Thing.
That's a big problem. That's the crux.
And it's criminal. That's criminal.
It's criminal. You have the interview lock, stock. You pay for the interview, and you're trying to resell the interview after you got. That seems kind of suspicious.
$12 is a lot of money, and she would have definitely made that $250 without having to do that. And that's the problem I have. Like, even if it was her employee that called, your employee should never have had that battery in their back to act on your behalf in making these kind of statements. No, just put
the employee, quote unquote, wasn't doing on the employees. Well, they didn't say it was an employee, they said an affiliate. So whoever that affiliate is didn't do it on their own, because who controls the cancellation of an interview but the person who controls the interview? So she's not absolved because someone acted on her behalf. Let's not play games here. that person acted as an agent for Tasha K, allegedly, and that person was only acting in accordance to what was required of that person to do, allegedly. But the fact of the matter is, if you're asking to catch and kill a story, this is not even one of those catch and kill type stories. If you are the person reaching out, you got how would they have known this interview existed? Because someone communicated with Kevin's team and said, we're about to put this out. You can stop it from going out. And the other question I have is, who else out there in America that has done an interview on her platform that she did as a big piece and was reached out and asked similar situations? So is it someone else out there that said that they too were asked to pay a certain amount of money or the story is going to go out? If those people come to the forefront, that's going to help Kevin's case. That's significant. That shows a pattern of behavior, and that's something that it will work in his benefit. Mm-hmm. If there's someone out there that's going to come out and say, hey, Kevin, this is similar to what happened to us, but they put the story out because we said we weren't paying. They just didn't sue. There are people that have information, don't sue, that this may be a very significant situation where someone said, hey, Tasha did this to me too. Then, that may be a problem. That may be a problem.
That's why I think the allegations or claims that will survive or that I think has more merit is the defamation and extortion. Those are the claims that I will hang my hat on and say will be more likely to proceed if it goes to trial.
Okay, so I think I heard that in the interview, but Spit and Fire says TK was at Kevin Hart's office when she was doing her comedy show promotion just a couple of months ago. Yeah, well, I heard that in this interview that she alluded to her being at the office. It's not relevant other than, I don't know, but hey, he had the space available at the time.
It's not.
Thank you, Spit and Fire.
Yeah, she said it, but I don't think that has any validity or anything to do with what's going on today.
And again, if it goes to trial, you got to be a good, you need good witnesses. You need good evidence. You need good, you got to have it. The defense to a lie is the truth. And that's exactly it. So,
and it's easy to prove the truth. It's hard to prove a lie. It's easy to prove the truth. Hard to prove a lie.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. We didn't have any questions out here. I appreciate you coming on the live. I hope you enjoyed the show. Once again, I would thank my co-host, Attorney Thurman Anderson. Listen, we don't always agree on everything, but we will debate it. I have no issue with debating the situation because this is what we do. If we both agree on everything, then this show wouldn't be as good as it is. Would you agree, Counselor?
I 100%.
Hold on, they have a question here. I'm going to use a chance to, drop your question. What are you saying here? What are you saying? No, I said that because it shows how she is. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, she has no loyalty. What did you think Tasha K had? She had no loyalty to anyone. All the people that she mentored, they all went, well, I don't know. Didn't she even say she encourages her assistant to do, she has no issue with her assistant to do, so Chelsea, if you're out there, I heard from Tasha K's mouth that you can do interviews. She has no problem. You're not under NDA, allegedly. If you want to come out and do an interview, I would have no issue with allowing you to interview with us. You definitely, you don't have to talk about Tasha K. I know you're a cook. I've seen your work on Instagram. We can talk about some of your recipes. I don't really think you cooked all those recipes, but anyway, it looks good for Instagram.
The shade. The shade.
I don't know. I don't know if she's been cooking all that. Those are nice pictures. Oh my goodness. Let's see what we got here. I know she right. Someone said she's saying that debate Chelsea out there. Right. We don't know. Listen. I don't know. She might have something on Chelsea. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I'll listen. We ain't even in 2024 yet. In 2024, already acting up. 2024 is already acting up, and what we got coming up, the exposing of the list that we can't wait to see, the continuation of the YSL trial. So we got a lot that we gonna keep y'all informed on, and y'all just got to keep and stay tuned in, locked in. If you're following us, you will get notifications of when we are going live, so that we can continue to bring y'all the real, true, raw, fair, and unbiased.
So I left you.
No, and you saw I kept moving. Listen,
you know I was
can't
coming
stop
back.
me.
I'm gonna tell you, ladies,
listen. I'm gonna keep. I'm the co-host.
I was on my
keep
Tinder. I was
going.
swiping left, and I lost you. I'm sorry, but
that's what I did. That's what I did the other day. It was like, don't start that mess again. And I said, no, don't start that mess again. I'm like, no, not today.
No, because you got to be very careful. I have two monitors here, and I was come through swiping. I turned around and said, where'd she go? But whenever that happens, I'm coming back.
Yeah. But like I said, 2024 already acting up. It's a lot of stuff that is about to be coming out still. A lot of lawsuits that are still in a pipeline to be revealed. It's just wild already. It's not even coming in calm. It's coming in guns blazing. So y'all get y'all armor. Like, make sure y'all got y'all vests on. Make sure y'all got y'all helmets. Make sure y'all are armored to prepare for this wild, wild west of 2024. I'm already predicting it to be wild. But, y'all got to stay safe in these wild streets, because, Lord, we not even in 20. Can we start over already?
I'm gonna grab this comment. He says, so isn't this a simple evidence case, meaning they just have to give in the documentation to prove their case?
Oh, no, it's not simple at all. It's not simple, because we're talking about not only documentation, we're talking about testimony. We're talking about finding individuals. We're talking about police report. We're talking about investigation to back up claims that were made. It's not simple at all. Like, I can attest that there'll be some expert testimony. The experts are going to have to be attached to this due to the complexities of some of the things that are revealed. Like, you definitely want someone that is an expert in extortion. Because you gotta lay the groundwork for that, and what that actually means, and how somebody can be extorted, and what it looks like.
Well, so wouldn't the best person for that be a member of law enforcement? They're expert in investigating extortions. A member of the FBI.
FBI for sure. FBI.
I would definitely get an FBI agent in there to discuss what constitutes extortion. To when you're talking about $250,000, that definitely reaches a dollar amount threshold, and bringing in high level law enforcement there. So I think that would be one of the people. Who else? What other experts do you think should be called in?
You're gonna have it. And it's gonna sound petty and just not even worth the money, but you got to have a contract expert to come in to pick apart that confidentiality agreement and the NDA. The reason why I say that is because when I read through it, there is no timeline for when it expires. So if I am the defendant, I'm going to say, it expires upon the termination of my employment, and I was terminated. So I'm no longer tied to this. If I am the plaintiff, I'm saying no. There's no date given, because it should be until this person perishes and goes to be with the Lord. Yeah.
Right. In
so
perpetuity.
That they're going to have experts to basically tear apart why the agreement should go in their party's favor, and this is why. So that in particular, they're going to have a phone expert. That video that they're saying that he recorded of himself in their room on the extortion case that is on his documentary, they're going to have that. It's experts that are going to be needed for this particular case, because it's a lot of things that have been thrown out there and you're going to have to prove it, but the burden is not high. You only got to tip the scale by 1%. You only got to tip the scale. Preponderance of evidence, more likely than not beyond a reasonable doubt. Different.
And that's the difference between criminal and civil. The reasonable doubt is criminal, and the preponderance is civil. Am I correct, counselor?
It is. And I'm gonna say this because I didn't bring this up. Because I know in the whole Cassie situation, people's like, well, why shouldn't file a police report? I'm going to ask Kevin them the same thing. Are y'all filing a police report? Oh, no, they did file a police report.
They filed a police report
for that. Yeah, they did file a police report for that.
They definitely filed that police report, and we don't know what the detectives are doing right now. We don't know if there's a warrant being issued. We don't, because, I mean, this is a high dollar amount. So if they're claiming extortion, detectives have to take this case.
Yeah.
They're not going to ignore the case. And then at what point do this become criminal? I mean, because they both can run in tangent, correct? A criminal and civil case. This is bad all the way.
Because then you look at the amount, $250,000. I can see the FBI coming in and doing their 1-2 on it if it's needed. Because you got to be careful with some of these celebrities, because they will use their resources. They will use their connections to get exactly what they want. And you best believe they've been making some phone calls. All them donations they've made politically, those favors, they spinning the block.
Yeah, Kevin is a big target, and he also has a lot, there's a lot on the line here. I mean, this is different. Man. Well, people say 250K is nothing for Kevin. No, it's not. It's principle, because if you allow the little ones to come at you, the big ones will continue to come at you. You got. It's like, if you have a rodent issue, you see one bug in your house, you want to get the exterminator out right away so that you won't have multiple bugs growing. And so, you want to nip this in the bud right away. It's the principle. It's the principle. You want to shut this thing down immediately. And I want to say this before I leave. I want to thank my guy Michael Walters at The Blast. I want to thank Liz Walters at The Blast. Shout out to The Blast. Make sure you guys are checking out The Blast. That's my guy over there. This lawsuit was exclusively broken by The Blast, and they shared the document with me only, no one else. So shout out to The Blast, because us journalists, we work together when we have a common goal to make sure the information is out there. So once again, I appreciate you, Michael. I know you're out there. He's working now. He's in California. I wanted him to jump on, but he just wanted us to shine tonight. He said, "Don't do your thing." So shout out to The Blast.
Shout out to him. To the real
guys. I hope you enjoyed the show. Once again, I want to thank my co-hosts. You always come in and bring a different perspective, and this is what we need. We need this. We need this kind of conversation, and we want to make sure that the people are better informed than they were prior to us this lawsuit coming out. But after the lawsuit came out, any last words? Do you have any last words?
Get your armor. 2024 is coming in wild, and we're gonna be there for the ride with you.
Hey, we out, ladies and gentlemen. Good night. Good night.